Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be adding a photo picker to an app using Apple's built-in PhotosPicker component. If you've always wanted to add a photo picker to your app but were always afraid of how complex it is, then this is the right video for you. It is so simple. Let's get started. So here we are in our brand new Xcode project. So first things first, let's import PhotosUI. And this will allow us to have access to the photo picker module from Swift. All right, and with this import added, we are now ready to use our photo picker UI. And so in order to get access to that, we just need to use the photos picker. And we want the one that gives us a max selection count. Let's do this one so that we can also have matching. Now, if you press Option when you click Enter, it will give you all the fields for that particular import there. And then we can do Control+M to make everything go on multiple lines. And now our title key here is just going to be select a photo. And now this takes a binding to an array of photo picker items. So let's go ahead and let's create a variable for that. So we'll create an @state var selected photos, which is an array of photo picker items. Perfect. All right, and then we are ready to use that in our selection here. So let's create our binding of selected photos. Now this int max selection count, this will allow us to limit the amount of photos that a user can choose from. So for now, let's just say 2. And we want a selection behavior of ordered. That's just my preference. I like having the photos returned in the same order that the user picked them. I don't know about you, but that's just me. And we, for our matching, we want to match all images. There we go. And now we don't need the preferred encoding or the photo library, so we can just take those out. And as you can see, our preview's just rebuilt, and we already have a button here. So let's go ahead and let's make the screen a little bit larger here. There we go. And as you can see, we'll click Select a Photo. And now we can choose 1, 2 photos, and then as you saw right there, the other photos kind of grade themselves out just a little bit, indicating that we've reached our max selection that we set over here in our code to 2. And it shows that we've selected 2 photos down here. And so let's go ahead and say Add. And there we go. Just like that, we've selected the photos. Now we haven't displayed them in our UI yet, so let's move on to the next step and do that. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to, inside of our VStack, we'll create a new component. And we'll put this content in a scroll view. And we will say that this is a horizontal scrolling container. And then I want to make a lazy hgrid. There we go. And our rows, we just want 1 row. And so we'll say that it is a grid item that is fixed. Let's not do 100, let's do 300 instead. There we go. All right, and with that, we are ready to start building out this grid. Whoops, looks like AI added 1 too many parentheses there. There we are. All right, and so what we will do is we will for each over 0 up to the number of images, but right now we don't have a great way to display an image because we have a photo picker item, which is not the same thing as an image. So let's go ahead and create a method up here to hold images. And so this will be @state var images, and it will be an array of UI image. Perfect, just like that. And so down here we will say we will go from 0 up to the total number of images in our array, and the ID will be .self, and we want the index on those, and so we'll do index in, and then we will say image with our with a UI image of our images, the specific index from our images array. There we go. And we want to make this resizable, and we want to make it scaled to fit. Perfect. Now this code here will display images, but we haven't yet created a way to convert from our PhotosPicker item into a UI image. And so let's do that next. Let's just come down here and create a function here in our view. And let's call this function convert data to image. And it won't take anything right now, and we'll just do all the conversions right here. And so we will first make sure that we have an empty array of images that we're working with. And then if our selected photos are not empty, there we go, then we want to go over each item in our selected photos, and we want to perform a task, and that task is to get the image data from each item, and this is pretty close, except for we want this to be a data type, a data.self, and then inside of our for each we will see if we can get an image out of that image data. And so we will say that we want UI image data, and we will append that image to the array of images that we created earlier. Nice. And so what we'll do is we will add an onChange listener, and it will be an onChange of our selected photos, and we're targeting iOS 18, so we don't need that. We don't need those variables in our trailing closure. And in here we will run our function, and so we will just call convert data to image. And now we should have, whenever we select our photos, we should have all of our photos displayed in a scrolling horizontal list. Let's try it out. So now we'll come in here and let's just select two waterfalls. So let's pick this one and this one, and we will add them. Nice. And so we've got our waterfall 1 and our waterfall 2. Very cool. It's not best practice to do all this stuff, all this business logic in our view. And so let's go ahead and let's move this out to a view model, and we'll use the @observation framework for that. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's import observation, and we will create a class that is a view model for our view, and it will conform to @observable, not object, just observable. There we go. And then let's move some of this logic into our view model. So we'll take our images here and we'll place those there. We'll take our selected photos and we'll move them also into our view model and get rid of these. There we go. All right, and then let's also move our function out of the view model. So let's take this and cut it out there, and then we will move it into the view model here. And now that leaves our view nice and small and leaves it just for displaying content. And then we will access this view model by saying var vm is equal to our view model, just like that. Now Xcode is going to complain because our images and our selected photos no longer exist inside the view directly. They live in our view model. So to access those, we'll just say vm dot, and it is as simple as that. So we'll say vm dot on our images, and our selected photos, we moved those over to the view model as well, and so we'll say that vm2. And we also moved our function, so we'll add vm dot here to indicate that we want the view model version of that. And with that, we are ready to try out our PhotosPicker again. So let's give it a shot, and let's pick flowers and leaves this time. And there we go. Now we've got flowers and leaves. Very cool. So let's try it again one more time, and let's choose different photos. So let's do 2 other images here. There we are, and we can see that we've got those other 2 images. Very cool. Now, we may have a little bit of a problem because we never actually cleared out our selected images. So let's go back to our function up here and let's clear out our selected photos so that they don't stay selected each time we choose a new set of photos. Now, that's completely up to you. You may want to do that. So if we select these two photos, for example, and then we add them, they get displayed to our list. And then whenever we click this button again, as you can see, those photos are now not selected any longer. Whereas whenever we didn't have this line of code, and we went to select our photos, and we selected, say, for example, the first two, and then we click our button again, these photos are still selected. So that is completely up to you whether or not you want to leave that line of code in there. And either way, now you have the option to decide whatever works best for your UI and your use case. And with that, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching the video. And if you feel like leaving a comment, just be nice about it. That's all I ask. Thanks. Have a great day.